Should we react to this video right here? Why G2 desperately need Stompn. Alright, let's check it out.
When people think of G2 in Rainbow Six Esports, people think of the most dominant Siege team to ever touch this game. They think of Fabian and Pengu's dynasty team that won so many world championships in a row. It felt like no one could touch them back in 2017 and 2018. They think of maybe the 2023 world championship team that Fabian came back to coach and led to another hammer. But recently they seem to be a team that people expect to consistently bomb out of events.
What's
like
good, Donnie?
A shell of their former self. And with a particular console switchover named Stompn making waves as a top pro prospect in North America, and G2 rumoring to make roster changes, this seems like a natural fit. But would the team be a good fit for the #1 console player? Or does G2 and honestly the rest of Europe desperately need Stompn?
They need Stompn. They need him, Chad. They need him. They need him. What's good, Heisenberg?
A Twitter account called R6 Transfer Dues just recently tweeted out that Stompn will most likely join G2 for stage 1 to replace Uno. This got the Jinxie loyals going crazy. This got the entire console community losing their minds. But why G2 out of all places? If G2 is such a dominant top EU team, why would they need to make a change and go for an NA talent like Stompn? Usually you see NA importing talent from other regions, not this other way around. Well, the last time G2 were world champions was in 2023, and they had this disgusting roster of Alamau, Virtue, Doki, Benjamaster, and Blur, and Fabian as head coach. Fabian used to be the IGL of the Dynasty G2 team at the beginning of Siege Esports. So that was the event you just saw them won. And ever since then, they've still been extremely consistent. They got top 8 at the Copenhagen Major right after that. They got top 4 at the Atlanta Major after that one. At this point, they just dropped Blur for Uno, but they still had 4 out of 5 of the main core of that world championship roster. They got top 4 at the next world championship after that, the 6th Invitational 2024, and it seems like they're a really consistent team, albeit you're not like winning more world championships, but you're consistently getting top.
Yo, Phantom, what's good, Phantom? It's Vaxi, bro, at Heisenberg. Made his account. Bro, your account got banned, right? Like, that's unfortunate. That's actually unfortunate as fuck, dude. What's good, Private? Enjoy the food. Appreciate you, Derricks. I'm just gonna react to this video while I eat my food, chat.
4 most of the time in every event you play. But then the Manchester Major happens, and they get eliminated in phase 1 of the event. That's before the majority of teams even play. This is the play-in stage. Teams that did less well in the regional pro league, they had to play through play-ins to actually get into the real event, which is essentially phase 2, where most of the other teams play. G2 got eliminated in phase 1 by a Korean team. A Korean team which is expected to be the worst region in all.
Hold on, I got y'all. Some chicken and some veggies. Hi, one question. What editing program do you use? I don't edit, but I know a lot of my editors use Premiere Pro.
All of Siege. And with that, G2 decided it's time to make a shocking roster change. G2 dropped their star fragger Benjamaster, who broke the kill record when they won the world championship, and Virtue to pick up Loira and Blaz, 2 young gunners from Brazil and France respectively. Very talented players. I have some reserved opinions about Blaz, but you know, it's okay. He's actually played pretty well on the team so far. Fabian left the team, and a guy named Ramalho, who used to be the coach for FaZe, joined G2 about a half a year before this. Either way, at this point, the analyst, the coach, and 3 of their players are all gone. You only have 2/5 of your playing roster and 2/7 of the original team, with analyst and staff included. And ever since then, G2 barely scrapes their way into the Blast Montreal Major with the LCQ, and they got 15th place. They also barely qualify into the 6th Invitational, where they got eliminated by OXG, who, if you don't know at the time with this lore, OXG was the worst North American team. They won the LCQ by the skin of their teeth, but they had broken the record during Pro League for the amount of games lost in a row. They broke the world record for it.
There's no way. They broke the world record for that. There's no way. There's no way, bro. Appeal the ban is looking good so far. Maybe unbanned soon. Oh shit. Okay. That's good to hear. I'm going to Sweden. Is there any restaurant you recommend? Ooh, there's a lot of fire ones. Dude, there's this really good restaurant. It's a steakhouse. I forgot what it's called. It's like 2 letters. Yo, what's good, Yokai? What's good, Yokai? What's good, Jackson?
Okay.
Appreciate you, funny boy. Appreciate you.
And G2
Appreciate
lost
you.
in 9th through 12th place to these guys. And most recently at Reload, they were also looking.
Yes, Victor, bro. That shit is crazy fucking good. That shit is crazy fucking good. That shit is crazy fucking good. Crazy fucking good. Do you remember my name? Of course I remember your name. How's the food, Spoit? The food is crazy. The food is great. The food is great. The food is great.
Pretty bad with this 9th through 16th place finish.
What are you watching? G2 to Stompn? No, Stompn to G2, not the other way around.
And they once again lost to Fear X 7-1 on Skyscraper. Granted, they made a little bit of comeback at the end and the system was kind of flawed. So G2 is in a pretty poor spot, which makes sense for why they need Stompn. But now to answer the big question which I get asked the most, which is whether G2 will actually be a good team and a good fit for Stompn, because it seems really strange that he's moving to Europe, according to the rumor at least, for this. Now, the short answer is yes. G2 is an org with infinite, what I like to call infinite pockets.
When is your next tourney?
Right? Financially, they will never be
it starts in
in
like
a bad spot.
It starts in like 10 days. It starts in like 10 days. I can show y'all right now. This is where it's gonna start. So we have the North American Stage 1 League starts in 10 days. 10 days. It starts right here. Right here. Yo, what's good, Marty? What up, Marty? What's good, Marty? Are you bulking? Am I bulking? No, I'm not bulking. No bulk here. I need to eat more if I want to bulk, but like, we're getting there slowly but steady. You know what I'm saying? We're slowly getting there. How's the day going? It's been going good, Adam. It's been going good. What's good, Carve? What up?
Support their players, and for that reason, G2 will actually be able to keep up with Stompn's financial needs. Stompn is no cheap player. Like, Spoit is no cheap player. When you come with that big of a pool and that much of an audience, you bring a whole new fan base entirely to your org. That is one of the smartest decisions you can make, knowing how loyal the Jinxie fan base is. G2 can actually financially support this player signing. Not only that, their players are extremely talented. Like I said, they have former world champions on the team. They might only have 2 of them, but these are extremely talented players. Doki is one of the best fraggers in the world by far. Alamau is one of the best IGLs and support players in the world by far. They're no joke, and I absolutely respect the hell of the players. Laura, as a young Brazilian talent, is extremely, extremely good. The only thing I would have a slight concern about is the system that G2 plays. When I watch G2's games...
You could be Stompn right now, but you're singing NA. If G2 offered me to join G2, I wouldn't join them.
At the Reload event that recently happened, and I could just go over, like, the first couple of rounds I see. It seems like G2 are still a little bit in the mindset of let's just flood bodies at some point in the round, and, like... essentially pray to God it works. So for example, on this first round, they get a 3v2 advantage, but they just all walk through piano door, and then they all just go down to J9. They get the wall open again. Blaz randomly dies halfway across the map, getting cranked by the basement player.
But what if it was your only chance to join a pro team? It doesn't happen like that. You don't get offered by a top pro league team, but not get offered by a low tier team. That makes no sense.
Newers gets another, And then Alamau is desperately trying to look for the refrag, but it's already too late. They got powered up top. SSG aggression is too much for G2 to handle. They hit a lurk on the net on this round, and Alamau with some mag. They have library control. They're now trying to hunt a solo player behind the bar. They have 3 people around this guy, but Newers gets 1. Newers is still in here. Are they going to continue hunting him? They drone him again. Newers by himself wastes a minute more. And then they all just try to, like, desperation flood through into a smoke into K9 door. One hops in through bathroom. They're just all getting shut down by SSG. The last round, they bring out the blitz. They call another blazing flash push for
Masa, Mitsu with the 4 fucking months. Mahamud with the 2 fucking months. Appreciate you. Do you believe Stompn will be top 20 rated in the EU League since you've played in the region compared to NA? I played in the region like 3 years ago. So it's quite a while back, but I think he will be, yeah, he would definitely be top 20 rated, yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think so. I think my Node is bugged, bro. My Node might be fucked. I don't think my Twitch Node went out. Baby girl, do you wanna see me dance? Wanna see me twirl? Get you home with your bestie. What's good, Malcolm? What's good, Malcolm? What's good?
First solar side over. Shut down by Benjamin Master. The shield comes in, tries to clear
How am I doing? I'm doing good. What's good,
but,
Shalom?
you know, puts his shield on his back, accidentally fat fingers, and it all falls apart. When you look at the majority of G2 attacks, it really just feels like they just throw bodies at the defense. And I noticed this ever since the Montreal Major, right? It's like they kind of play this style of like, almost like they play it like it's a rush. Like, to be fair to them, they've started to learn how to do it through different points of the round, but it's just like a lot of throwing bodies, and like I'm sure they're playing off some sort of game theory, like let's fucking split theory and fucking push pull with your body and just throw bodies and we all try to find a gap, but at the same time it doesn't have the same level of nuance that they had when Benjamin Master was tearing it up on the lurk for them back in SI 2023. It seems like they're trying to keep that.
Is this real Spoit or a fake? This is a fake Spoit streaming on a Spoit verified account, so yes, it's fake. What's good? What up, Jonas? Are you tough enough to 1v1 me? I would beat you the fuck up in a 1v1, bro.
Old playstyle alive at what worked for them was playing extremely aggressive, but just kind of doing it without calculation, without reasoning, without the nuance of the actual push-pull it creates. They're almost like throwing bodies at desperation. And that concerns me because I feel like it directly conflicts with Stompn's playstyle. Someone in Jinxie Loyal says, so Stompn is going pro in Discuss. I thought I would have given some of his CL stats. Out of 57 unique players, he had the highest rating, 1.26. He had the highest cost, 0.72 with 2 others, and had the highest KDR by far. The second highest KDR was 1.17. This just means that he had a high KD. And it had a high kill differential, which is kills minus deaths. Because all these metrics that you see are heavily reliant on KD. So there's a lot of complaints with the Siege rating system, at least in stats, overly valuing your kill differential, which is your kills minus your deaths. Stompn naturally is a slower paced player. Some would even call a baitier player. And he's alive more of the time as a result. You see him a lot in situations where his team is low man count or he has to 1vx to clutch up the round if he is not directly entering for his team. So his rating, yes, he's a really impressive player. I think he's a really good player, especially on defense, but it's more reflective of the fact that he's a slower player. He's a more calculated.
What Pro League team do you think would be the biggest challenge to you? I don't think there's a team in particular. I think there's a lot of good teams in general in NA. Like you have SSG, you have Dark Zero. Who am I missing right now? Which team am I missing right now? Yeah, M80, yeah, M80, SSG, DC, Oxygen, I think it's a pretty decent team. Um, Wildcard showed us pretty good stuff at Reload, so yeah, we're already familiar with every team in here, pretty much.
To player. You'll get more out of Stompn unless the coaching staff can enable him enough on the entry, but you'll get more
Does
out
this
of
mean Stompn can scrim Falcons and VP? Yeah, Stompn's gonna be scrimming like all these teams here. He's gonna be practicing against these teams right here, like Falcons, Fnatic, Secret, and BDS. I mean, he's on G2, so G2. VP, Virtus Pro, Wolves, Gen G, which is like the old, the French roster. Matchgo, Wild, so JJ and Co biggest challenge for sure. I mean, they're decent. They're decent.
Stompn when you let him play a more calculated role where he can bring the game to his own pace and play slower siege and be alive for longer in the round to fully analyze and see his gaps. If G2 was still under that same system of just seemingly throwing bodies and playing a random blitzing fast speed with no real like good util usage and no real good reason or no real good nuance to the refrags, then we'll
Where's BDS? This is BDS. This is BDS current team. This is the old BDS team. They're on the Falcons now. Do you miss M80? No. Well, I miss the guys, but I don't miss it. I don't miss that. No. Yo, that's Vaxi Amethyst. That's Vaxi, dude. That's Vaxi, bro. You're on Shopify, right? Yeah, I'm on Shopify.
see a player like Stompn not really fitting into that system, or at least I hope
Bro's
he
getting
will
ego.
fit into
That's
that
crazy.
system. I know he probably
That's
can.
crazy.
He's a really smart guy, but at the end of the day, it is really up to the coaching staff and the IGL to really fully fit him in. I have no doubt that Alamau has the ability to do that because he's a really, really smart IGL. He's a really smart player, and I've seen the genius of what his calls can do when he was put back onto IGL at the 6th Invitational 2023. The issue is their current coach seems to be...
Honestly, I liked all of them. This is so peak. Yeah, this is peak. How happy do you feel in your current team compared to past experience you've had being a pro? Would you say you're at your best right now? Yeah, I feel comfortable.
A bit of a wild card. Their current coach, his name is Romalio. Now, I'm sure if they've kept him for this long, he has to be some sort of good. But the issue is his public image for himself does not look that good. So Romalio used to be the coach of FaZe Clan in Brazil, and FaZe recently just won the 6th Invitational 2025 World Championship, most recent, with their new coach as of like for 2 years, Rafadel, which used to be, I believe, the secondary coach. Romalio moved to G2, and I don't know. I don't know if he's good or not, because he did win the Sweden Major with FaZe. He did get first in Pro League with FaZe and second in the Berlin Major. It seems like he had success with FaZe, but it seems like with G2, he's not able to replicate sort of the same thing that Fabian has. And this kind of culminated in a drama that happened after they got 20th place at the Manchester Major.
Yo, Ampa George, thank you for the prime. Appreciate you. I'm doing good. Loki Smurfing, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
This has been the worst season of all my career. There's so many problems, but I think the biggest is after SI, I lost confidence in some players, and
with G2's reputation, I ain't screaming G2, bro. Hell no.
Also, players lost confidence between themselves. I apologize to G2 fans for this event, and really I can say I try my best even in the circumstances. Time to come back to the family and think about the future. This was before he nuked the roster to get Blaz and Lyra, essentially replacing 2/5 of the world champions that were there before. And, you know, Yardi being, you know, the instigator that he is, I said, if my coach ever said I lost confidence in my players, I would fire them on the spot. How do you lose confidence in literal world champions? Is it too late to bring Fabian back? This is insane. Reed can't lie. Romalio somehow bites the rage bait. You never ever respond to Yardi, guys. You know what's happening inside our team? I don't give a fuck about what you or someone thinks. I had players every day talking shit for me about others players. The fact they win SI changes nothing. People can be lazy and don't give a shit anymore about the game. To me, that is a really bad public.
Is Stompn going to G2? Apparently that's what the rumor is, yeah. There's a lot of videos on it too. I miss Bolo in Pro League. RIP Big Bo. If I get the Viper V3, will I have the same mouse with you without the Zowie shell? Yeah, it would be the same thing. Do you think Stompn will do good with G2? I mean, it's hard to say.
Look,
We'll
that
see.
is a really bad public look. Nothing has been said since then, but that is throwing your players under the bus. That is the number one thing you cannot do as a coach is lose confidence in your players. You know, you should always believe in your players, even in your last place. When I was last place in Pro League, I believed in my players, right? So I don't know his work. It's probably unfair for me to say for whatever work he does, but at least in a leadership aspect, that was a really horrible look for Ramalho as a coach, and he didn't get dropped after that, actually, even though the world was calling for him to get dropped, because that was a really weak moment of leadership. He continued to lead the team. He made the roster move that...
Yeah, that is a broccoli tree, actually. You're a big team with the prime, appreciate you.
But to Blaz and Laura joining the team, which led to the World Championship caliber core of a team getting pulled apart, and a string of pretty awful early eliminations right after that. So to me, that is your answer, guys.
Is Stompn going M&K? You're a bit late, pal. He's going pro.
Yes, the players on the team are great. Yes, the money on the team is great, but at the end of the day, I think the coaching staff and the philosophy
with Beast
are
Coast?
a little bit concerning for me. I really hope they're able to mold and change their ways and adapt to make it fit more. Stompn to make it fit 5, because even if they have other world championships on the team, you also need... Stompn's 1/5 of your team now. That's still a very large amount on your team. Not to mention the player they dropped is Uno. Now, for those watching Uno for a long time, Uno seems to be the most obvious choice for a drop. He's pretty statistically consistently on the bottom of G2 Squadron. Not only that, I mean, there's a meme that happened a couple years ago. Once again, I'm referencing Yardi. But Uno once went 0-17 in a best-of-3 series, achieving the lowest world record rating of all time for any pro player ever. However, people give Uno a lot of shit, but Uno is the IGL and leader for his team, and has consistently brought multiple teams to the top level in EU, at least. Now, it's a completely separate question of, even if someone's such a great leader, do you really want him on your team if he's consistently triple negative? But
gameplay when? Should we get to gaming already, chat? Should we get to gaming?
At the end of the day, you're replacing an IGL hard support player, leader figure with Stompn. Like, when you look at the roster, well, you have a support player IGL, but then you have Fragger, Gunner. A little bit of an unbalance. I think they could put Stompn on like second support and he'd still be really good because he's a really good flank watcher. But I'd like to see him try entry on a system that teaches him how to do it and be more vocal and do whatever. But it's fine. He is a naturally good slow player. He could play second support, utility type player. But then again, if they force him to go fast, I mean, who even knows? Right? Who even knows? We've seen Alamal be able to IGL before at a top level, and we've seen G2 consistently try to make a roster out of like 5 gunners and then force like 2 of them to play support, and then they end up making it work back when they won with Blur. Right? So this is not nothing they have done before. Now, the real thing is...
Stompn is in Pro League already? Oh, that's what the rumors say. That's what the rumors say. Alamal isn't a support now. I mean, he is kind of a support. He's like a flex player for them.
Now, is Stompn is going to EU. Is that really the best thing for him to do? He's a North American player joining EU, and actually usually the imports are the other way around. Usually NA gets imports because the other regions seem to be weak.
Appreciate you, Warrior.
Why is Stompn going to EU? Is that really a good thing for him? Well, actually, I think more than anything, the entire region...
Uno was not the IGL, Laura was the IGL at reload. Stop Ollie was good, Ollie. Bro, it was weird that Laura was IGLing. Laura is their entry player. Why is Uno not IGLing? They played better when Uno was IGLing at SI. You guys remember?
of Europe needs Stompn, and I'll tell you why.
Like, dude,
The
they
most
played way
common
better
question I guess asked in my
when
stream
Uno
nowadays
was
is, will
IGL.
this be a good fit for Stompn? Right? Stompn's going to EU. That's
What
so
team are
from
you at
NA. Will
now?
it be
I'm on
weird for him to
Shopify.
go to Europe? And I actually wanted to address the Europe thing first.
Goki is
Actually,
their
overall
entry.
in general.
There's multiple entries in this game these days. There's usually like 2 to 3 entries.
Before I even address the question of whether or not this is a good overall fit for Stompn.
Like 2-3
Because
entries ish.
I don't think it's just G2
It's my birthday in 4
that
days.
need a talent like
Raskoa,
Stompn right
Fatty.
now. In
Yo,
R6
early
esports, there are
happy
3
birthday, man.
major regions that
Early happy
dominate the
birthday,
competitive
man.
scene. Europe,
When's your
North
next tourney? In
America,
10 days.
and Brazil. The graph you're looking at right now is the number of top 8 placements at S-tier events since 2023 for the 3 major regions. As you can see, since 2023, Europe has had 20 top 8 placements, North America has 22, Brazil has had 28. But when you filter it more closely to current times, you see EU trails even further behind at 10 to North America's 14 and Brazil's 17. And so far in 2025, EU has had 2 out of the 16 placements across the 6th Invitational 2025 and reload among the 3 major regions, not including the other regions in Siege. Europe is consistently in last place since 2023 for how they are proportionally represented at the top of events. And this is extremely embarrassing considering Europe used to be the most dominant region in Siege. You think of Europe, you think of Team Empire with the Russian pros like Joystick, and now they're known as Virtus Pro. You think of G2's Dynasty with Pengu when they absolutely were smoking everyone. You think of Prime BDS with Shaiko and the fully French roster when they won the Shankabing Major in Sweden. And Game
TJ Wriggles with a tier 1, appreciate you. Frosty Hector with a tier 1 as well, appreciate you. My day's been good, Wriggles. Thank you, brother. How have you been? What are you eating, bro? I was eating some chicken with some potatoes, and some yellow rice, and then I had some salads, carrots, cucumber, tomatoes, some tiny diced mangoes. Pretty fire, bro. I gotta say. Kinda fire.
Gamers 8 time and time again. EU should not be this bad. And yet here we are ever since 2023, which was, by the way, the year that G2 won the 6th Invitational. I take this out, and this was the only event that EU as a major region led the top 8 in any event since 2023 if SI23 doesn't exist. So this region, and I get so many EU fans in my chat hating on me for it, but is the right now weakest out of the major regions in Siege. Outside of Shaiko's team, which is now known as Team Falcons, I really don't see a lot of depth in this region for teams that consistently make it to the top, which I'm actually very impressed by because they manage with the, lower level of practice that they have, consistently make it to the top of the events. Every other team just seems somewhat inconsistent, and that's why I believe that Stompn is such a good catch for a region like EU. With Wizard and Stompn coming in, they're sure to make a splash.
We hate Tottenham?
Actually
What?
exactly what
hate
Europe
Tottenham?
needs to get themselves back
Do you think
to the
certain
top.
people do you think certain people just have the ability of overcoming the amount that an IGL needs to while playing well still? Because I feel like even though Laura obviously practiced it a lot, someone like him wasn't able to utilize his full gun skill while on IGL versus someone like Lickifak in the past. Well, yeah, he's not used to being an IGL, so like when he's actually active and playing on the server and having to call and see what his teammate is doing, like he needs to think and to play. Like it's very hard to do both things, at a good level. You know what I'm saying? So that's why. You see more. Yeah, I don't know, bro. G2 just swapping IGLs like that is crazy. What's good, Sir Pineapple? What up? What up, King? Yo, Mars with a tier 1. Appreciate you.
the talent is missing.
Wiz is going
and
pro
they
too. Yeah, Wiz is already
need to
pro.
replace
Wiz is pro.
the-
Wiz is in Fnatic. That's what the rumor is. If you go on R6 Tracker, wizard.nfnc, boom, it's right there. It's right there. It's right there. So yeah, shit. I don't know, bro. That might be that's kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy.
the old guard of players with the up and coming talent in Europe.
That's big Wiz. That's
So
big
yeah,
Wiz.
I think with Stompn going to EU and also Wizard, by the way, which is the #1 EU console player who switched over, played comp, and also got #1 rated in European Challenger League, like almost mirroring Stompn with
This is a
Wizard
crazy fucking
rumoring, or
console
I think
clip, I'm not
announced
gonna
a
lie.
rumor to join
might be the
Fnatic.
craziest
I
console
think
clip I've
EU
seen.
is getting two extremely
Yo,
talented
Julek with a tier
young
1, appreciate
players
you.
entering their scene. It's gonna be the next thing that it's gonna
Appreciate
be
you,
what they
appreciate you.
needed this
Heard
entire
it gets
time.
you, bitches.
which
Yeah,
is
if you get the
talent
Spoit charm,
to
yeah.
propel that region forward, to kind of wash out the old guard and kind of bring a refresher to the region to bring them once again to the top. Brazil has been the most dominant region in Siege by far, and one of the biggest
Mingo.
reasons of that is because of their flourishing console scene.
Dead.
90% of those pros you see on Brazil are all console switchovers that, honest to God, stuck together for a
Dead.
long time on a lot of the console teams together. A lot of them are trickled across multiple teams. Like, I'm pretty sure I've spoken with Brazilian coach Bodega, and yeah, I mean, like, the Brazilian teams are just all made of console switchovers that, like, bring new talent to
Hey,
the game
up the
year after
fucking
year.
console, bruh. Up the fucking console, bruh.